Hi everyone, today's video is on a bottom heavy gyro. This should not be the first video on gyro compass that you should be watching. I have previously made a number of videos on gyro compass and the links to those videos are in the description section below. So please make sure you watch those videos first before you watch this video. Otherwise there could be some concepts that you don't understand. Alright, so watch those videos before you watch this video. Today's video will only focus on one aspect, which is the bottom heavy gyro compass. What is the mechanism behind a bottom heavy gyro compass, or what was the mechanism behind a bottom heavy gyro compass, and how it was used to make the gyroscope seek north as well as settle north. So in my previous video I explained the top heavy gyro compass, and in that I explained the terms gyroscopic inertia, precession, and I talked about the top heavy gyro and what mechanism it uses and the flaw of the top heavy gyro, and in today's video I'll quickly summarize all that, but I advise you watching that video so that you have a detailed understanding of the topic. Before I start with the bottom heavy gyro, again a quick recap of what a gyroscope is. So a gyroscope is made to convert into a gyro compass, and the role of the gyro compass is to point north all the time so that it can be used as the primary means of steering and sailing on ships. Alright, of course gyro compasses are used on aircrafts as well, but I am an ex-mariner, so I explain things from a mariner's perspective. And hopefully most of it is applied in the aircraft as well, except that in aircrafts they also use it for altitude measurement. So there are three axes of movements that they talk about there as well, and the altitude is another axis of freedom of movement that they talk about, but in this video I'm focusing it from a mariner's perspective. So a gyroscope or a gyro compass needs to point towards true north. So for your understanding I have labeled true north there, and that is where the direction is. As soon as you understand the direction, I'm going to now change the angle of the camera and bring the camera towards the front portion of the gyroscope so that you can see how a gyroscope behaves and moves when weights act on it. Alright, so a quick recap. What is gyroscopic inertia? Gyroscopic inertia means that if I make it point in one direction, so a gyroscope is like a spinning top, based on its mass, which is its center. If it attains a certain RPM, and if I make it point in one direction, it should continuously point towards that direction. That is gyroscopic inertia. But what we have realized, it doesn't do so. So you can see even in this case, although it didn't attain its maximum RPM, it keeps precessing, or it keeps moving away from the north in some direction. And the reason is because this gyroscope is on the Earth's surface. The Earth is moving, and due to the Earth's movement, Coriolis force is created. Moreover, the ship is moving. With respect to the Earth's movement, certain forces are experienced, and the ship is interacting with the sea, and the hydrodynamic forces create more forces on the ships and the ship structure, because of which the gyroscope experiences different kind of forces and it precesses out of the true north. It doesn't continuously point towards the true north when it is made to do so. So to make it continuously point towards the true north, we call it north seeking. We use a mechanism called the top heavy. So in my previous video I talked about the top heavy, where we used mercury as a weight mechanism, and I showed you how the mercury moves. But the problem with the top heavy mechanism was that for it to work, the gyroscope had to spin in a particular direction, which in this case was the anti-clockwise direction. If I made it point towards the clockwise direction, the top heavy mechanism was not functioning. So to address this flaw, there was a scientist called Mr. Brown who came up with the bottom heavy arrangement. So again, the bottom heavy arrangement took lessons from the top heavy arrangement. It knows that for a gyroscope to be converted into a gyros compass, three elements need to be fulfilled. The first one is making the gyroscope horizontal and point towards the true north. Only in this direction the two weights attached to the two ends of the spin axis will be in balance with one another. This is the only direction. So when it is pointing true north and it is made horizontal, this is the only position where the two weights attached will be in balance with one another. Otherwise, as soon as the axis moves away from the true north, the weights will become unequal. So in top heavy, it was the mercury which was flowing with gravity, making one end heavier, and it used to bring back the gyroscope. Why and how? With precession. So what is precession? So I explained what is inertia. Precession is when I apply a force and the spin axis moves in a direction 90 degree away from the direction of the force. So you can see I'm applying a force here, it is moving 90 degree away. If I apply a force here, it moves this way. If I apply a force here, it goes down. So that is precession. Precession is when the gyroscope axis moves 90 degree away from the direction of the force that I'm applying. Alright, so the top heavy gyro had a problem. It had to work only when the spin axis was moving anti-clockwise. So how was this addressed with a bottom heavy arrangement? So bottom heavy arrangement, what Mr. Brown did was he attached two weights to the horizontal spin axis when the gyroscope was pointing towards the true north, and these two weights, this time it was not mercury, it was oil. And he used oil so that he could pump the oil using a motor in any direction of flow. He didn't have to depend on gravity. So that's why he used oil. He didn't use water. Somebody might ask that why he didn't use water. Water can be pumped as well. And the reason is the water was not used because water is damaging to electrical components. So if there was any damage in the weight and the water leaked, the water would leak into the electrical components and damage it. Moreover, water evaporates over a period of time, so they could not use water. So what he did was he made the horizontal axis point towards the true north. Only in that direction the two weights were attached with oil cylinders, and in this position here the two oil cylinders were balanced with one another. They were balanced in balance, and there was a motor that was attached in the middle that would help the oil to be transferred in the direction in which Mr. Brown wanted. I'll show you what I mean by that. Alright, so that was the difference from the top heavy. Top heavy was dependent on the flow of mercury due to gravity. So only when one end went up, with gravity, mercury would flow from the top end to the bottom end. But what happened with Mr. Brown's design, with use of oil, the oil could flow with gravity, but if required, the oil could be made to flow against gravity using the pump. So what that helped and how that helped was that this bottom heavy gyro didn't have to depend on a particular direction of spin. Like I told you, with top heavy gyro, the spin had to be anti-clockwise, as per my design, of course. So it had to be towards one, it had to spin in one direction, particular direction. But with bottom heavy, if it was spinning anti-clockwise, I will show you now, as soon as the gyroscope axis precessed eastwards and upwards, oil could flow with gravity, making the south end heavier. Weight would act here, precessing it back to north. If it was going westwards and downwards, oil would flow with gravity, making this end heavier and precessing it back towards the north direction again. But the oil was flowing with gravity and the design was working similar to top heavy because the rotor was spinning anti-clockwise. But if I made it spin clockwise, the same principle would not happen because this end would become heavier and it would go away from the north. And if it went west and downward, this end would become heavier, and again when I am applying the force, it's not really working. So that's why when the gyroscope was made to spin in a clockwise fashion, for it to work, when it was going eastwards and upwards, the oil, instead of flowing due to gravity downwards, was made to flow against the gravity from the down end to the top end, making this end heavier, and then it would precess it back to north. So although it was spinning clockwise and it was going upwards like this, as it went eastward, it went upwards, this end, oil should have been flowing from the top end to the bottom end, but instead of that, because the design was such, oil could be made flow against the gravity and making this end heavier. So you could see if this end becomes heavier, it precesses back to north. So similarly, if it was going westwards and downwards, oil would have ordinarily flown from this top end to the bottom end due to gravity, but it was made to flow in the opposite direction. So this end became heavier and it precessed back to north. So this was an improvement over the top heavy design, and that's how bottom heavy design was an improvement over the top heavy design, because it used oil which could be made to flow in any direction of travel. It didn't have to depend on the gravity, and the gyroscope could also spin in any direction. It didn't have to spin in a particular direction like the anti-clockwise direction. It could spin clockwise or anti-clockwise and the design would work irrespective. So these were the north-seeking elements. So two elements are done, horizontal and north-seeking element. The final element for a gyroscope to turn into a gyro compass is the north settling element, and the north settling element was improved over a period of time. For that, initially they had to make sure that the gyroscope doesn't keep precessing out, because as the gyroscope would precess out, the weights would start to act it would bring it back, again it would precess out, because the forces are continuously acting the gyro, and it would keep on precessing away from the north. So what it was doing, that's why in the olden days, if you switch off a gyro and then switch it on, it used to take the gyro about 4 hours for it to attain the maximum RPM and for it to settle on the north meridian, because otherwise it would just keep making a elliptical motion around the north. It will precess out, downwards, then come back here, precess eastwards, upwards, and this motion kept happening till the rotor was reaching its maximum RPM. Till then, the gyro was not settled. We could not use it for steering and sailing. These days, of course, you have fiber optic gyros. Settling time is 15 minutes. It happens very fast. But those days I'm talking about when the fiber optic gyros were not there. So to prevent, and even when it seeked north, it kept precessing outwards, eastwards and upwards, westwards and downwards. It kept doing that. So to minimize that movement, to make sure that you don't even have to wait for it to precess outward and the wait to act, bring it back, it was the north settling element was created by torsional wires, and torsional wires were kept so taut that this end, the gyroscope, would not precess too much. As soon as it precessed, the torsional wire would act on it, creating a force and bring it back. So over a period of time, of course, the designs were improved. Torsional wires were now changed into cathode ray tubes with lights, or fiber optics with lights flowing, and sensors now coming in which would detect the movement of the gyroscope immediately as it precessed out of the northward, and the force would act immediately. So even that little waiting time where it would precess outward, weight would act on it, bring it back, has now been reduced. It's because you need the gyroscope to continuously point towards true north. You cannot afford the luxury of it precessing outwards, away, and bringing it back, because then you cannot depend on it for steering and sailing. So these are the three elements. I think I've pretty much covered the gyroscope. I've talked about the top heavy in my previous videos and the bottom heavy in this video. I've talked about the three elements that are required for the gyroscope to be turned into a gyro compass. So the three elements are: make the gyroscope horizontal, make it north seeking, and then make it north settling. And please watch my other videos as well, where I've shown you the parts of the gyro. I've talked about all the other different elements of gyro operations. If you still have any questions, feel free to write it in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer it. I'll try my best to answer it. This is a tough topic. It's not easy for me to explain gyroscope like that, but I'll try my best to answer it. Thank you guys for watching, and all the best with your studies. Bye.